only 2 Knicks teams have had more wins than the one coached this year by Jeff Van Gundy. And under enormous expectations, he took new players and slowly but surely defined their roles. And through it all, he maintained the same foundation the franchise has used for the last 12 years. In this season, which saw Patrick Ewing named one of the greatest 50 players of all time, the Knicks finished up as impressively as they could, coming together, riding the NBA's best 6th man to a victory over the dreaded Bulls. But now, the real season begins, and it's the Knicks versus Charlotte in a series that Anthony Mason wanted badly. It will be a matchup where he can prove something against the man he was traded for, and one where all friendships will have to be put on hold. The New York Knicks played their hearts out all season to get a home court advantage, but they know it can all be gone in one night. Game 1 of the NBA playoffs, next. Of their 50th anniversary season, MSG welcomes you to the 1997 NBA playoffs. And it's one of the best first-round matchups you could hope for. The New York Knicks and the Charlotte Hornets, game 1 of this opening round in a best 3 out of 5. Good evening, everybody. There are so many great storylines to follow as the Knicks get set to take on the Charlotte Hornets. But the primary one for the Knicks to win this series is that they will be challenged big time in a defensive way. For more on that, let's go to Marv Albert and John Andres.
All right, thank you, Alan. John, this is a series that may well come down to perimeter shooting. In fact, the Charlotte Hornets leading the NBA in three-point accuracy, sparked by the hot shooting Glenn Rice. The Knicks have struggled from the outside all season long, but over the final week, they have shown signs, in particular in the case of Allen Houston.
How happy the Knicks are that Allen Houston had got the touch going in the month of April. He shot the ball very well. He scored substantial numbers. And in that game Saturday, Marv, against the Chicago Bulls, Allen Houston was at his best in a big game. What preparation for the playoffs. And when you look at Rice, he's had a sensational year. 3rd leading scorer in the NBA, the best from three-point range. And what the Knicks want to do is limit the times he touches the ball and don't give him continuous good looks at the basket.
All right, and a familiar face to Knicks fans who certainly will elicit reaction from the crowd. There he is, former Knick, Anthony Mason. Mason and his Hornets going up against the Knicks. Game 1 is coming up. Back at Madison Square Garden, the introduction of the starting lineups.
6'4" from Rice, number 21, Ricky Pierce. At forward is 6'7" from Tennessee State, number 14, Anthony Mason. At forward at 6'8" from Michigan, number 41, Glenn Rice. And at center at 7'1" from Serbia, number 12, Vlade Divac. Coaches for the New York Knicks are Jeff Van Gundy, Don Shady, Brendan Malone, Tom Thibodeau, and Jeff Knicks. The traders are Mike Saunders, Tim Walsh, and Greg Britnap. And now, please welcome your New York
the introduction of the lineups for the Knicks and the Hornets. The announcement to this Madison Square Garden crowd that John Starks was named winner of the 1996-97 NBA Sixth Man of the Year award, and he received an ovation. John, a landslide winner in the league-wide media battling, as he took 84 of a possible 115 votes. Tom Sanders from the NBA office presenting the trophy to John Starks. Tony Kukoc of Chicago, last year's winner, was second with 7 votes. There you see the voting. As I said, it was a runaway for John Starks. John, the second Knick in the last 3 years to win the Sixth-Man Award. Anthony Mason took the honors back in the 94-95 season. So John Starks, who has had a terrific season coming off the bench and will certainly be a factor in this series, taking Sixth-Man honors. Well deserved. And we're set for game 1 of this best-of-5 Eastern Conference first-round playoff series between the Knicks and the Hornets. During the regular season, the Hornets took 3 of 4. The one Knicks win was opening night here at the Garden. Glenn Rice, it should be noted, was injured in that for that game back November 3rd, and the Knicks won 113-86. And John, it was a very quiet night for Anthony Mason, but since then, in the 3 subsequent meetings, the Hornets were able to beat the Knicks.
And the Hornets have been doing so well against the Knicks in recent years, even going back to Alan Bristow days. But the Knicks are playing a lot different basketball these days. It's been about 13, 14 weeks since these two teams met, and the Knicks have come up a bit.
Here is Allen Houston, who has come up a bit recently. The officials, Hugh Evans, Nolan Fine, and Don Baden. Anthony Mason, who received mixed reaction, and that would be actually giving him the benefit of the doubt when he was introduced. Houston with the steal, and it was batted out of bounds, not able to hold on as he and Bogues came together. Muggsy Bogues, a question mark. He has been hurting as of late. Sat out the last regular season game with a pulled hamstring. Del Curry bothered by a calf injury. Matt Geiger, an important player for the Hornets, is bothered by a pulled hamstring. And Anthony Mason has had problems with both feet.
Very, very chancy situations because of that, Mark, particularly with Muggsy Bogues, I feel, because he makes this team run.
Mason guarded by Johnson. Mason able to settle down for Bloody Divac, who has had a superb year. This is his first season as a member of the Hornets.
He's playing happy after that trade here. He wasn't happy, but boy, he's gotten into the flow.
He was not delighted about making the transition from Los Angeles to Charlotte, but as you mentioned, he has settled down and has been very happy with his new home. Divac called for the foul on a reach-in on Ewing.
Not a smart foul by Divac. It's vital that he stays on the floor as much as he can tonight.